I wanted to raise the issue of binding a future legislature. Now, if you're around the California state capitol, you might hear on occasion the phrase, you can't bind a future legislature. What exactly does that mean? And does it apply equally to the electorate or just the legislature? So the California Supreme Court, in a case called In Re Colli in 1952, said that neither house of the California legislature may bind its own hands or those of future legislatures by adopting rules not capable of change. Specifically, the High Court said it's the general rule that one legislative body cannot limit or restrict its own power or that of subsequent legislatures, and that the act of one legislature does not bind its successors. Now, I think this is pretty straightforward because obviously a subsequent legislature, say for example in 2025, could obviously amend or repeal or change a statute that was enacted, say, by the 2022 California legislature. So they would do so by enacting a new statute that amends or even repeals that previously enacted one. So does this apply to the voters as well? In other words, can the people of the state of California bind a future legislature? Well, under Article 2 of the California Constitution, the initiative and referendum are not rights granted to the people, but rather powers reserved by them in the state constitution. So as a result of this, the appellate courts in our state have generally opined that the people's reserved power of initiative in the state constitution is greater than the power of the legislative body. And why is that? As the courts have generally explained, the legislative body, the Assembly and the Senate, may not bind future legislatures. How? But by constitutional mandate, unless an initiative measure expressly provides otherwise, that initiative measure may be amended or repealed only by the electorate. So as a result, through the exercise of the initiative power, the people may in fact bind future legislative bodies other than the people themselves. So while the legislature correctly cannot bind a future legislature, in fact, the people can bind future legislatures by their ballot measure enactments.